Valentina awoke in darkness, her head throbbing with pain. The air was filled with the scent of moisture and decay. She lay on a cold stone floor, surrounded by silence, broken only by the sound of water dripping from the high ceiling. Valentina slowly got up, trying to orient herself in the space. She found herself in an abandoned prison, about which she had heard many terrifying stories. Turvolar prison in the state of Parana, Brazil, had been closed back in the 1980s due to numerous mysterious deaths and disappearances of inmates. Valentina remembered coming here with a group of researchers to shoot a documentary. They wanted to investigate the secrets of this place, but now she was here alone, with no idea where her colleagues were. She reached into her pocket and found a flashlight. Turning it on, Valentina saw rows of empty cells. The prison looked even more sinister than in the photographs: rusted bars, cracked walls, burnt-out remnants of furniture. She recalled the legends that the prison was cursed, and that the souls of those who died here still wandered its corridors. Valentina decided to find a way out. She walked down a long corridor, hoping to find her friends. Suddenly, she heard a sound similar to the creak of a door. She stopped and listened. The sound repeated, but this time from the other side. The flashlight illuminated only a small part of the space in front of her. The rest remained in darkness. She approached the door from which the sound seemed to emanate. It was an old metal door with a small window. Valentina peeked through it and saw a small room. She cautiously opened the door and stepped inside. There was only one item: an old diary. She picked it up and began to read. The diary described horrifying events that took place in the prison. It told the story of one of the guards named João, who in 1975 killed several inmates during a riot. His madness was considered the reason for the prison's closure. But in the diary, João claimed he was merely a puppet in the hands of a dark force that inhabited this place. Valentina suddenly heard footsteps behind her. She turned around but saw no one. Her heart pounded in her chest, and she quickened her pace, trying to find an exit. From time to time, it seemed to her that she saw shadows moving behind her. The corridors seemed endless, the doors identical, and the flashlight began to dim. After hours of wandering, Valentina stumbled upon stairs leading to a lower floor. She decided to descend, hoping to find another exit or at least a clue about what had happened to her friends. The lower floor was even darker and damper. The walls here were covered with mold, and the floor was muddy. As she walked down a narrow corridor, she noticed old, damaged photographs of inmates and guards on the walls. On one of the photographs, she saw a familiar face. It was Eduardo, one of her colleagues. He stood next to a group of inmates, but looked strange, as if he didn't realize he was being photographed. Valentina took the photograph and put it in her pocket. She felt a chill run down her spine. Something was wrong. Could it be that her friends had long since become part of this horrific place? Suddenly, she saw a light at the end of the corridor. Valentina walked towards it and found herself in a large room with chairs scattered around, as if after a hasty retreat. In the center of the room was a large wooden table covered with documents, photographs, and a tape recorder. Valentina turned on the tape recorder and heard a recording of a conversation between guards discussing the experiments conducted in the prison. "We must stop this, João. It's gone too far," said a voice on the recording. "We can't stop now. They're here, and they want more. If we don't continue, they'll come for us," replied another voice. Valentina shuddered. Who were they? And what kind of experiments were being conducted here? She continued to search for answers among the documents and found a letter addressed to João. It spoke of a mysterious force awakened in the ancient catacombs beneath the prison, and that this force demanded sacrifices. Now everything made sense. The experiments were not just cruel, they were ritual sacrifices. Valentina realized that this force was still here, and that it used the prison as a trap for new victims. She heard the screams of her colleagues growing louder. Valentina rushed towards the sound and found a hidden door leading to the catacombs. She opened it and saw her friends locked in cages. They were in a semi-conscious state, and dark figures surrounded them. Valentina understood that she had to do something to save them. She ran to one of the guards and started fighting him, trying to find the keys to the cages. But the dark forces were stronger. They grabbed her and dragged her to the center of the hall, where a large stone altar stood. Valentina was thrown onto the altar, and she felt cold hands gripping her wrists and ankles. She saw the dark figures begin a ritual. Their eyes glowed red, and they whispered incomprehensible words, and Valentina felt her strength leaving her. She realized she had to act quickly. With her last strength, she freed one hand and grabbed a knife lying nearby. She struck one of the figures, and it crumbled to dust. The others retreated, and Valentina took the opportunity to free her other hand. She got up and started fighting the remaining figures, stabbing them with the knife. At this moment, her friends began to regain consciousness. They realized what was happening and joined the fight. Together, they managed to overcome the dark forces and free themselves from the trap. Valentina found the keys and unlocked the cages. They ran back to the exit, navigating the corridors and stairs. On the surface, it was lighter, and they saw the doors leading to freedom. They opened them and stepped outside into the fresh air. The sun was already rising, and Valentina felt the warmth of its rays filling her with strength. They were saved. Returning to the city, Valentina and her friends recounted everything that had happened. The authorities decided to permanently close access to Turvolar prison, and the locals began performing purification rituals to rid the place of the dark force that inhabited it. Valentina knew they had experienced something incredible. She knew this story would stay with her forever. Turvolar prison had left its mark, but now she knew that light always overcomes darkness if you find the strength to fight to the end.